Last 2 weeks, he's had 10 touchdowns, no turnovers, over 800 yards. Like, it has been ridiculous to see what he's doing. I said to you before we started this video, it feels like we are watching history in real time. Just what Josh Allen has been able to do.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. He's Mike Catalana. I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. The Bills beating the Lions 48-42 at Ford Field. Josh Allen, 4 total touchdowns on the day. Another MVP-like performance. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about this team. We're going to talk about the entire offense. We're going to talk about the defense. We're going to break it all down. But, Mike, your initial thoughts after this win?
Well, we saw last week in L.A., and you're thinking, okay, 44-42, like how often do you see a game like that?
Yeah.
We waited a whole week here in Detroit. And this was more about the Bills' offense, I think, than last week was about the failures of the defense. Because this defense came in so beaten up, got off to a good start. We're going to talk about that. But what helped this defense was their quarterback was unreal. He got help. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
A lot of guys stepped up, either big plays, big whole games, offensive line, all those things. The defense was held together out there on the field.
Yeah.
But, man, 17 was good. And can we just stop with the competition for MVP?
It's over.
I mean, honestly,
over.
I think if you ask, you know, like Barkley's had a great year, and Goff here has had a great year, and Lamar keeps piling up the numbers. But come on, Josh Allen is the most valuable player in the league. All the voters know it. These games, national TV, for a few weeks now, he's unreal.
He has been so fun to watch, so incredibly clutch, always making the right play. Last 2 weeks, he's had 10 touchdowns, no turnovers, over 800 yards. Like, it has been ridiculous to see what he's doing. I said to you before we started this video, it feels like we are watching history in real time. Just what Josh Allen has been able to do and the fun he's having. And you talk about those other guys for MVP, and you think about the supporting cast that they have. And we even talked about going into the season, I don't know if Josh will have the weapons. I don't know if this Bills team has enough talent that they'll be able to win games, and as many as they have. They just won their 11th today.
Yeah, you know, when I think about who makes players better, right? A lot of times somebody will say that. And with Josh Allen, I think it's not like taking a good player and making them a superstar. It's just when he needs that help, he can pull that out of a player. Ty Johnson's a really good football player. He was phenomenal in this game.
Yeah.
James Cook always comes through. How about what Dawson Knox did for him?
Yes. Dawson Knox is having his best season.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think absolutely. The clutch plays, we talk about clutch. Some huge catches, some really tough contested catches. He's been able to come down with the ball. I've really loved what I've seen this season from Dawson Knox. But let's go back to Josh.
Yes. So the way he's playing now, honestly, I don't think defenses have any idea what they can do to stop him.
Well, I think of just how many the one to Keon. Oh my God, I just pointed. But
it was impressive, though.
It was diabolical. We were on the sidelines, and it's like, you can't guard that. You just cannot guard that.
You saw what he did. So Josh, you've seen rolls out, right? And he had 2 guys somewhat open underneath. I think it was Shakir was one and maybe Matt Collins. And he's pointing. Josh is pointing. See,
so
he
that's
watches.
Why I can
That's
point.
right. You can point. You point because Josh points, not because I point. And he points like, go. And then he throws it up and Keon comes down with it.
You know when you see Josh Allen pointing, some absolute wild stuff is about to go down.
I was thinking about how he always keeps his eye open for those plays. Like he's running to the sidelines, but he's thinking. And his arm and his ability allows him to sometimes throw back across his body a little bit, throw all the way to the end zone, because he's thinking, I could go out of bounds, I could throw it out of bounds. Years ago, I don't think he was as aware, and he had physical gifts to sometimes make the play. I would say, Jenna, when he's in that spot, he rarely now makes a bad play.
And I think what it is when Josh came into the league, Trent Dilfer had the analogy of a quarterback can be a butcher or a surgeon. They use a one uses a hatchet, one uses a scalpel, and the damage that they can do can be massive in both ways, but I think you've seen the evolution of Josh and the touch. I think early on in his career, he just didn't have the touch for some of the plays like you talked about. When things broke down, he could heave up the ball and some incredible plays could happen, but now you see that added element of the finesse that he can have, and I think that's just what has separated him from being really, really good to now this expert level that we have seen. And also there's guys on the other side of the ball making the plays, coming down with those catches, but I really do feel like everyone has wanted to step up their game because of the level that Josh Allen is playing at.
I was thinking watching him, and they used to talk about the sugar high Josh, right? He'd get in certain spots, and it would speed up, and he might make a great play, might make an incredibly bad play. Honestly, Jenna, the game has slowed way down for him.
Yeah.
He processes his mind, he sees it, and he's so calm now before he makes one of those plays. Like that, it just makes me laugh. Now, 2 plays, that one, and then the one he threw, the little shovel pass, the push pass.
The chest pass?
That got taken away.
I know. That was...
Which kind of stinks. And then the Keon one ended up being where they didn't score. That was the only, I would say, poor offensive execution. They got down the goal line.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen them just push it in. They took a penalty. But Bass missed that short field goal.
Yeah.
It didn't end up hurting them as much because the Lions came right back and missed a field goal. But it's kind of funny. Josh knew what that play was, because he did it, and then he ran off with the hand up and all.
Just excited.
That was the moment of the game. And then the ref, with no sense of drama, throws a flag.
How dare they?
I know. It was something.
Lions fans were losing their mind because I think the frustration of, like, how do we stop this guy? How do we slow down Josh Allen? And even when it felt like, all right, the Lions did a good job, it's 3rd and long, it's whatever, there would go Josh Allen. Just...
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, like, oh, history is what all of the past is, but it just feels so different this season. And we've talked about it, maybe off camera, maybe not as much on camera, but like it just feels different. And then when you see the level where Josh is playing, it's fantastic to watch.
Well, I mean, you say everything's a history, but when you're watching these plays and these moments, other players have a great moment or a great game.
Yeah.
Huge. Josh has so many of them. And the really interesting thing about this year is it wasn't supposed to happen like this.
Yes.
I'm watching this game. Amari Cooper, very good player, non-factor, basically. Khalil Shakir, a little bit, made a few nice plays, had a touchdown, but it wasn't huge. Josh Allen threw for 362 yards. I mean, Ty Johnson is an outstanding receiver. And what did he run, Jenna? What route did he run?
A wheel.
I love the wheel route.
Yes, you did.
I love it.
I
Ty
actually
Johnson can run
thought of you when I
Yes.
saw that. I was like, oh, Mike's going to be very happy.
I wrote down in the notebook that you have in your hand, I wrote down a note. I wrote, I love the wheel route. And he ran it. But how about McDermott on that play? I thought Sean had 2 4th-down decisions. I think he made the right one on both cases because he doesn't always make the right one. The 4th down, he went for it. Josh very calmly put it right in Ty Johnson's hands. Huge play.
Yeah.
And then later when he punted, and he punted him down deep. Because,
Yeah.
You were up 14. Like, I know they were moving, but he needed them to go another 40 yards if they were going to get there. I thought that was the right call.
Yeah.
But that throw to Ty Johnson just was elite. And then we talked about the one to Dawson Knox. I asked Dawson about that. It was a 3rd down play. They were only up 10 at that point.
Yeah.
Which was wild because they were scoring, it felt like, every time.
Yeah.
I said to Dawson, what were you thinking? And he was like, well, I was thinking, I better get going because that's got a little air to it. And he tracked it down. Outstanding catch.
Yeah.
And that is a quiet, massive play in this game.
Yes.
Because right then, if you don't make that play, you're punting it back to them up 10. And that didn't happen in the game,
and
so it was huge.
And this place gets loud. Like, that was definitely a factor. I think, too, what says a lot is, like, after the game, you went into the locker room, and the way Josh's teammates talk about him they sound like me.
Yeah, well, Dion says that, Dawson says, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fan. In fact, let's hear from those 2 players after the victory by the Bills and Josh Allen.
I'm his biggest fan. I told him that mid-game. I said, Josh, I'm your biggest fan, bro. I'm honored to be his left tackle.
The dude's incredible. There's It's hard to describe what he does on a consistent basis every single Sunday. I've talked about it before, but sometimes you just turn into a fan. I mean, he threw a chest pass touchdown to Dalton, got called back, but he's flipping the ball to guys, making plays with his feet. I'm yelling in my head to slide, but he's running guys over. It's so much fun to play with that dude.
It's just funny, and even the defensive guys just talking about it because they knew what a struggle it was. Let's pivot a little bit to the defense, though, because they did get off to a great start. Urgency and Ed Oliver.
Yes.
Two things we talked a lot about
Yes.
this week. And Ed came to play right from the beginning.
You know, I think the players always talk like, we don't hear anything, we keep our heads down. You hear that. And I think Sean McDermott was asked in the postgame what he saw out of his defense, specifically the run defense.
Yeah.
And he said, it starts with attitude.
Yeah.
It's attitude, it's fundamentals, it's focus. But it starts with attitude. And I think you saw the Bills' defense. And what did we say all week leading into this game? The Bills' defense played like crap.
Yeah.
They were not happy with how it was in LA. They were excited to get back onto the field, especially against a test that is the Detroit Lions.
Well,
and they showed that. They showed that urgency that I think a lot of people were waiting for earlier on against the Rams.
They went out on the field with backup safeties and a backup corner.
I mean, we picked the games obviously
Right.
before, and
Oh,
you
wait a minute.
see,
Go ahead.
Well, no.
No,
You
no,
see
no,
that
no.
DeMar Hamlin's out.
Yep.
You see that Taylor Rapp's out, and I was like, I might look like an ass. Like I might look silly because.
Oh, instead you look like a genius.
Thank you.
By the way, just so everybody knows, in our year-long competition, Jenna is in
Jenna.
first, Dan is in second, the old man is in third.
Get ready for
Pilates.
Pilates.
Well,
I may
unless-
make it hot Pilates.
Oh my God.
The
I
room
need
is
it.
like 98 degrees.
I know. I need
It's
it
not,
because
but
we're going to eat probably bad food now when we go back to the hotel.
I haven't had anything since breakfast.
So we'll get you something to eat. But
yes. Back on
defensively,
track.
so let's talk a little bit about. So you're back out there with the safeties. Like Cole Bishop had to play.
Yeah.
The last time we saw Cole Bishop in a prominent role was in Houston. He gave up the big play.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and Cam Lewis was the other safety.
Yeah.
Right? So hey, Micah, beef up a little bit because
Join us for dinner.
because you got to get him on the field, I think, at some point
Yeah.
if they need be. But those guys played tough. They played hard. And I want to apologize to Kyer Elam
Yeah.
because we thought because Jamarcus Ingram had gone in, but the reality was Kyer wasn't dressed, so he's had those games.
Yeah.
And
He's played in big moments.
Kyer stepped up today. Perfect? No. I mean, they gave up 42 points.
Yeah.
But when you watch the game, it was more of just trying to almost run the clock out with the Lions because the Lions needed to just keep scoring to
Yeah.
keep up with the Bills.
Yeah.
But Kyer made some nice plays defensively. But I was thinking about Taron Johnson. Two things. One, he fielded that onside kick. Onside kicks make me so nervous.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, a lot of stuff goes on down in that pile. He said, I had it the whole time.
Good.
Bless you, Taron, if you really had it because it was ugly at the bottom there. It looked like Bernard maybe pushed the ball down there. It's funny, it's those two together at the end.
Yeah.
Because Taron's got to be out there going, who's playing next to me? Who's behind me?
Yeah, when he was on the field for defense.
Because, you look and
Yeah.
Benford.
Balin Spector was
yeah.
in there.
So
Like,
for the linebackers, like Milano went out
yeah.
and Dorian Williams went out.
Did he come back?
He came back at the
That's
end,
what I
I
thought.
think, because they were like, we got Balin out there
Yeah.
in pass coverage,
And
not
we're
ideal.
Balin.
Yeah. And so, you had, and then Cole Bishop left the game.
Joe
with
Andreessen
cramps.
was out there
Yeah.
at some point.
So, veteran safety.
Kareem Jackson.
Jackson ended
Yeah.
up out there. I mean, this is who was out there against the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
So this wasn't like the number one guys. And that's where Taron was like, I think they felt actually pretty good about the way they played, even though they gave up all those points. Because it was just
Absolutely.
that kind of game.
I think so. I think you had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup, and specifically out of the lineup that you're used to seeing. And so for that team, for guys like Cole Bishop and Kyer Elam to play the way they did, for the defense to look. I mean, the Lions obviously scored a lot of points, but it was that bend, don't break in the greater sense for this Bills defense, where the Bills were always in the lead of this game.
Yep, absolutely they were. So it's a massive win for them.
I feel like we have to say, we talked a little bit about the run defense, but you took the Lions script away from them. They want to run the ball that sets up everything for them. And the Bills did a great job of limiting the Lions and having to make them play from behind, not be able to run the ball as much, having to use their passing attack, which obviously they were effective, but you took away their fastball today. And I think that was the thing that a lot of Bills fans were concerned about because, hey, you know the Lions, they can run all over you. The Bills got out and up fast, and that helped make and minimize what the Lions could do on offense.
No question about it. If you're just box score scouting and you look and you see Jared Goff had all these yards passing and all this stuff, they got Goff off of his game too. He missed some throws that could have really helped them, and the Bills made just enough plays defensively in order to win the game. You know, the Lions they would hold on to the ball and they kept driving, and the Bills again like trying to run the clock there a little bit. I would say this is probably. It's a rare time for a Sean McDermott and now Bobby Babbage defense to give up 40-plus in 2 games. But this was a very good effort and actually pretty good result because these games can go. It's like a high-scoring basketball game. It's like everybody just keeps going. You just got to figure out a way to win. They made them work and work and work to get down the field.
You know what I kept thinking of? The image that popped into my head is if you have siblings, you probably know this one. But you know when you have your sibling, you're like holding them back and they're trying really hard to fight you and like run at you and you're just like, nope. Like you just stand your ground. Like there were some moments where there was some bending, but it was like, all right, the Bills did enough. And the defense was obviously a piece of that because at one point I was like, there's 9 minutes left in this game. Like it was, oh my God.
It wouldn't end.
It would not end.
I want to ask you about the crowd. These people are loud. Listen, Bills fans show up, but man, in this place, there was some.
Yeah,
and they were
definitely
loud, the Bills fans who were here, but the Lions fans, they are enjoying a phenomenal season, and this place is super loud. But there were times it got super quiet.
Oh, absolutely. Like this, I mean, this home crowd was the largest in terms of the ratio of home team fans to Bills fans. Like, without a doubt, there was a massive majority of Lions fans. But when they were loud, they were really loud. And when they were quiet, you could hear a pin drop at moments.
And give the Bills credit. Rarely did the noise cause them a problem. They called Dion on that one false start. I just thought it was a little bit of a BS call there. It was it was a whisker.
Yeah.
That was the one that took them back. But this environment, like it was
it's
pretty easy.
That's why actually I was happy that Tyler Bass got some. I'm not excusing the miss earlier, but like some big kicks late in the game. Crowd really into it, a tough environment. I'm like, okay, it's nice to see. Now look, weather obviously not a factor. We're in a dome, but I think that's important experience down the stretch for him and to help with some of his confidence.
I think making the 50 was more important than the missing of the short field goal. The missing of the short field goal was just he's going to make that the vast majority at the time. It was just he pushed it, gone. I think that's very easily correctable. You were right. I was thinking in that moment. I said it was his second biggest kick of the year. The 61-yarder that won a game, the biggest. Mm-hmm. But this one was, you're like, okay, we need this one. Go back up, I think, 13 at the time. And he drilled it 50 yards, which was huge. So that was a plus, too, coming out of this.
Yeah, definitely. I thought for him that's important. And that to see that one go through, that's huge for him. It was very important in this game because it felt like the Bills constantly had to keep scoring points because of what the Lions can do and how explosive they can be.
Yeah. Now, when you look at it, massive win for the Bills. It keeps them in the running for the 1 seed. And I know the Chiefs won again. Mahomes went out. It's an injury. They're saying week to week. We'll see.
I was going to say, I don't know if I believe that.
He did that. He does. He's tough. He does come back. He does
tough.
play hurt.
There's no doubt about that.
But if they're saying week to week, and they've got some games now. They beat Cleveland.
I think they have the Texans.
They have the Texans,
the Steelers.
And then they have the at the Broncos to
Yes,
end the year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that is in terms of the Bills being. And the Steelers lost. Very big for the Bills.
Who beat them?
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
The Eagles did. Pittsburgh played tough without Pickens, which hurt them. They'll probably get him back, which is good for the Bills maybe, when they end up playing the Chiefs. But all still in the running. And, they did say potential Super Bowl preview, I would say outside of their own teams, America would love to see this rematch in the Super Bowl.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like going to this game, so many people were like, we always root for the Lions if we're not watching the Bills.
Yeah.
And, like, honestly, vice versa of, like, it's a similar background in terms of obviously the failures and the frustrations that go into it. So, and this Lions team is fun to watch. They got a ton of weapons.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell is wild. 2 onside kicks. Like, I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were...
The first one, Dan, what are you doing?
I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I just was like, wait, what?
Well, you got to announce it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, okay, we're going to kick this onside
Did
kick.
they announce the second one?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait a minute, because I think maybe they did. I'm trying to think. At that point of the game, I don't think they have to announce it because they're. But anyhow, they announced they have to call it because
Yes.
they move
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
They do that first one. I'm like, you got it down to 10 points, and now you're kicking an onside kick?
Yeah. I thought I don't know.
Mac. I think he just wanted Josh to get another touchdown.
Oh my gosh.
And he did.
Yeah, that was a big play.
Yeah, it was a huge play. Dan Campbell's aggressive, but I think I would have kicked it deep, put
Yeah.
the Bills under pressure.
Yeah.
He didn't, and later he did. Then he took the onside kick. So regardless of how it ended up being, your quarterback's going to be the MVP, and your team got a huge win.
And Sean McDermott was asked after the game, "Is this the best you've seen Josh play?" And he was like, "It is."
Yeah.
Whenever Josh puts his mind to a goal, McDermott was saying, "I'm not surprised." And I think coming into the season, it was, I need to limit the turnovers. I need to be more patient. I need to be more, protectful of the ball. And you're seeing the results.
He did. I don't know if you mentioned it here. He mentioned it before. He did go in for X-rays.
Yes.
It was on his shoulder.
Yes.
That was negative.
He said it was, quote, for peace of mind.
Yeah.
And everything's good.
He did. It was. They did see a break. He broke the internet with some of his touchdowns, where people are like, "What is happening?"
I really wish that chest shovel, not shovel, but the chest pass was.
Oh, he just loved it.
He wanted
too.
it. So he is one behind Thurman Thomas for most rushing touchdowns in franchise
The guy
history.
with the gold jacket is a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to
We're
beat them
wa-
all. He's got He's got 2 receiving touchdowns now. He'll go after Andre Reed next. He's got Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas. He's just go after all
And
of
I
them.
took that personally.
Yeah. You want to point at anything else, or are we good?
No, I'm
We
good.
got to go get you something to eat.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd
Yeah.
be good. No, Detroit. It was a fun trip.
Mhm.
We're excited. Dan Fates will be coming back, so we love him and we're excited. And honestly, we got a lot of fun games ahead. Division stuff, New England, the Jets, New England, some home games,
Yeah.
maybe we'll see some weather. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Nice to be in the dome.
All right. Yes, seriously. All right. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. The Bills now 11-3 after their 48-42 win over the Lions in Detroit. Hell of a game. Josh Allen's the MVP. Let us know how you're feeling after the win, what your thoughts are on Josh Allen's performance, and what you make of this team and where they're at. All right, for Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. For Dan, who will be back later on this week, thank you so much for joining us here on the Buffalo Plus channel. We'll catch you next time. I was so close to finishing strong.
You did. All right.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.